Hi, boys and girls. We have a special day coming up in celebration of all of our moms. And it is coming up this week, and it's Mother's Day. And I thought this week we would spend some time reading some books all about moms and Mother's Day. So the book that I have to share with you today is called A Chair for My Mother. And this book is by Vera B. Williams. She is the author and the illustrator of this book. And this book also won a Caldecott Honor Book Award. And you can see the medal right here on the book. We talked all about that in class, so you should remember what that medal stands for. So think about it. I'm not going to tell you. I want to see if you remember why a book receives that medal. Think about it. All right, A Chair for My Mother. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salts and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. So she works at the Blue Tile Diner. She helps her mom where her mom works, and she fills the salt and pepper shakers. And then she gets some money too. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all of the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired, she falls asleep while I count the money out into piles. Some days she has lots of tips. Some days she has only a little money. Then she looks worried, but each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. Look at that jar. They've got a lot to fill in there. What kind of job do you think her mom has? If you said waitress, I think you're right. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually, Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. And look at Mama. Mama's so tired after work, she's just laying back in the chair. And any extra money from her Nana goes into the jar. Her grandma goes into the jar. She's taking it out of her little brown satchel here. And they put that in the jar too. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we're going to take out all the money and go and buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We're going to get the best chair in the whole wide world. That is because our old chair is burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. That wasn't such a long time ago. They want to get a chair that looks something like this. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals. She had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips. She was saying she liked red tulips, and I was saying I liked yellow ones. Then we came to our block. You can see all the pretty tulips as they're walking on their walk. We see these out right now during the springtime. You may have seen some recently. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us run to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled. "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here! She's here! She's okay. Don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her. But everything else in our whole house was ruined by the fire. You can see the fire engine putting out the fire at their house. What was left of the house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty, because all their furniture had burned up in the fire. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware and dishes. My cousin brought me her own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and can start over." And so everyone helped out to make their new apartment special. And that was very nice. That was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on hard kitchen chairs. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner. And all the coins started to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I can put it in. And look at the difference now. Look how full. The coins are almost coming out of the top of the jar. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. "Well, I would never have believed it, but I guess it's full," Mama said. My mother brought some little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On Mother's Day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. So they counted up all their coins. They took their coins to the bank, and the bank teller, they're at the bank here, the bank teller gave them all $10 bills. And now they're ready to go buy their chair. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried our big chairs. We tried out smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 bears trying out all the chairs. There they are, trying out all different kinds of chairs. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of, and the money in the jar was just enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. They weren't going to wait for that chair to be delivered. They wanted it today. Do you see which one you think they're getting? I can see it. What do you think? You guessed it. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. And look how cozy, comfortable they look. The end. And I think for Mother's Day, you should be thinking of some nice things that you can do for Mom. And it might even simply be telling Mom, I love you, or doing something special to make her day better. Maybe just by listening and following the rules at home. That's what makes Mom happy. All right, boys and girls, have a great day. I miss you.